did everything right. You went to school. You went to college. You want to go get a job. You want to go get 3 jobs. Listen to everything that your parents said. You worked hard. You pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. You listened to your significant other. You paid attention to everything that your friends told you not to join, not to do anything. But still, you feel hopeless. However, there are people like myself who live like this, where it's like a gaming background. We was told that if you played video games, you will end up a loser. Well, somebody lied to us. What happened? So let's go over how the system is broken and how you were lied to and how there are people who are sitting behind their computers making more money than people with 3 jobs. So I just wanted to have a conversation with you. I wanted to get into the computer and just show you some of the things that I've noticed for my 34 years of living on this earth, and also getting myself out of the system, doing something that any and everybody can do for themselves. But for some reason, these guys don't teach us this. All right? Now, I got nothing to sell you, but I just want to have a conversation with you. So let's get into it. So we all can agree that we have all heard the term and been told to pull ourselves by the bootstrap. Yes, we've been told that, right? So here's the thing. So our parents has been taught things that didn't work for them when they were growing up due to their parents, right? Because their parents grew up in a different time. And then our parents passed that information down to us. Now, in the time that we were growing up, due to like social media and everything like that, the information that was given to us did not work, okay? And it still doesn't work to this day. Now, I have children. I will be a fool to pass down 2 to 3 generations of information that does not work and to give it to my children and then tell them to pull themselves by the bootstraps when it hasn't worked for my grandma and grandfather. So G-Mom, G-Dad, my mom and dad, myself, and then you will pass it down to my children. So the pass down systems after system after system after system of things that just has not worked within our families due to the fact that we're all following the same system. So not just our family is failing, but it's multiple families around the universe that is failing due to the system of pull yourself by the bootstrap and work hard, go to school, go to college, get a job, right? But it's now within time where in college, the information that you've learned is completely outdated. None of that stuff matters in today's time. And we'll go a little further on about college right now. So let's go into it. So first thing I want to say, who helped you fail? This is a question that you really want to just close your eyes for a second and just think. I personally believe it's not just the government that helps you fail, right? The government, they doing their job, right? The government is to keep you poor. That's what their job is for, to keep you poor, right? To keep the people who do not know poor, okay? But I personally believe the people that helped you fail was the mom and the dad. Going to the top, where we just came from, pull yourself by the bootstraps. Now, just to blame completely on them? Absolutely not. It's your friends. Your friends, homies. So the ones that you call your friends, your homies, these guys also is a big reason you fail, due to the fact that they're listening to their parents who gave them awful information. Again, the parents don't know that they're giving their children awful information. A lot of them are just, again, listening to what their parents are giving them, and it just passes down to their children. A lot of also parents that's passing down their information to the children is going off of, they just don't want to look like failures to other parents, right? Or their parents, or they're just basically just doing things for other people, recognition and everything like that. A lot of people pass that down onto their children, and then their children's lives is ruined. This is something I've noticed throughout life. All right. So one thing that we can all agree on is that they force us to go to school and learn the same things that never help. So now we all can see that I'm a black man, right? This is not rage bait or anything like that. I'm not into that type of stuff. But we have learned Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the same thing over and over and over inside of the school systems that weren't too great. Okay. I always said, can we learn something different? Let's learn more about history. There's so much, and I was young saying this. There's so much more to the world that we can learn about, and I always got in trouble for that. And it's like I always wanted to know more. I know that these 2 to 3 Muhammad Ali and all these guys, I knew these was the only people that did something great within the black community, right? So always wanted to know more things. But when it comes to the school system, we all basically learned the same thing. And if you think about it, a lot of the stuff that you've learned from grade 1 to 12, you don't use majority of it, especially when you go to college. I went to school for digital film. I wanted to be a movie director. I wanted to make movies like Saw. Saw is one of my favorite movies. I'm into psychological thriller, pardon me, and theory also. And I just wanted to make movies that make people think, but just with horror and thriller inside of it. And when I went to school to do that, to become a director, movie director, I was taking classes that had nothing to do with movies, art, anything like that. And I could understand the math and all that stuff. I get all that stuff, right? Because you actually do need that when it comes to like lenses and all that stuff like that, right? So I understand that. But everything that I was learning before we even got to basically using cameras, all that stuff was useless. Every single one of it. So like the first 6 months of going to college was completely useless. I was just wasting time, right? So I'm paying $40, $50, $60,000 for something that was useless, right? So that's they have us force us to go to these school systems, and we learn the same thing over and over and over, and it's completely just creates a bunch of people who fail over and over and over and over. It's actually worse now because what's happening now is the children can't read, they can't write, whatever the case may be. Now, that's not due to teachers, though. Well, some teachers, you see what's going on in social media, some teachers are the reason why some of these kids can't read and write, and then you can also put it on the parents as well, too, because the parents aren't teaching it at home as well, and I get all that stuff. But I just believe that the school system, if you read a book, which you're going to talk about it in below, it's called The Weapons of Mass Destruction. If you see what the school system was really about, you will see why going to school at the very beginning was also one of the pillars of making you a complete failure. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that school is completely useless and you shouldn't go to school. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is one of the things that puts you into that box of being a failure. Okay. So then they tell us to go to college. And when I say they, I'm talking about parents. Okay. So mom and dad. All right. So mom and dad. Mom and dad tell us to go to college. Now, the thing that always, I've been talking about this for 10 years. So before people started catching on to this, I've been saying this for about 10 years, that college is a scam. It never made sense to me. Even when I was there, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. If I'm paying, because at the time when I was in college, I was also getting into real estate. I was starting to buy my own properties with my father. And I was making more than the professor that was there. And I went to school to make more money. But I was already making more money than the professor. And the professor was interested in the money that I was making. So I was like, well, what are you teaching me for? You get what I'm saying? But that's not the reason why I knew that college was a scam. I just seen a lot of people who went to college that weren't successful. It was a lot. I'm talking about a lot. Right? And then at that time, this is when rap started to really take off and everything like that. And I was just like all over and basketball players and all that stuff like that. And I'm not saying that, you have to be a basketball player, and I disagree with all that stuff to be a basketball player, especially in our community. I just disagree with the whole sports, rapping, all that type of stuff like that. But at that time, me being an impressionable kid, I thought like, wait, but all the people that I see succeeding aren't none of these things that's in college, right? So it was really confusing to me. So, and in today's time, it's crazy now. 70% of people who have graduated don't have jobs today, which we're going to talk about that in a few. Okay. So now when you go to college, right, you get this degree, you come home and you end up working at Popeyes, Starbucks, any type of crazy things. So you'll pay $100,000. You paid $100K to work at Popeyes. Explain that. Explain that. This is, or to be unemployed, or you can't find a job at all. You can't find a job at all. So we are in a time where things are very difficult for people in today's time. And history repeats itself. Market crashes, depressions, recessions, all these type of things like that. You have to take account into those type of things like that, which is why you should be very educated on to how finances work. Now, again, like I said, I'm not going to sell you anything here, but I'm just going to basically tell you what I have observed and what got me out of it, right? So let's continue to go. So, is the term education is power, or is the term knowledge is power? Which one do you think that the term is? Now, if you're saying knowledge is power, then you'll be 100% right. The term is not education is power. But they keep pushing education. We live in a time right now where critical thinking is almost non-existent, and anybody that do think for themselves is an enemy to the world, right? So critical thinking is like a weapon, and it's a gift nowadays, right? With so many people who watch his videos just to confirm that they are right, even if they are wrong, right? So it's echo chambers. We live in a time of echo chambers, and everybody wants to be right. And what they call it, the same think, or whatever the case may be. I think it's called same think. We live in a time where no one really thinks for themselves. And not no one really thinks for themselves. No one doesn't think for themselves. And if you are a person that uses critical thinking, or if you question things, you are an enemy. So the reason why that is because people chases education. People don't really chase knowledge. Okay, so let's go to the differences between education and knowledge. Education is what formally taught to you. Think, school, training, structured lessons, even certifications. It's information being handed down to you. Okay, now when it comes to knowledge, knowledge is what you seek out, absorb, and understand. Is the result of curiosity, lived experience, and applying what you have learned to real solutions. Situations. This is what always got me ahead in life. Always got me ahead in life. This is what got me from Philadelphia, living a row home, to living into the second biggest house in my neighborhood of 40 houses, which we're moving to a neighborhood of 22 houses. So you can see how we will go from row homes to Philadelphia to one big giant house. Well, we went for apartment, two bedroom apartment, to a 5-bedroom house, bathrooms, very, very big. And then we're going to 1.2 acres, 6-bedroom house, 7 bathrooms, those type of things like that. But we're going into, you see this, and it's because I choose to seek knowledge. I choose to learn. That's the most important thing. Don't think going to learn is going to go to college. And a lot of people think, well, if I go to college, then I will be able to get the jobs that I want. And you will see in a second why that is not good. Okay. So, education fills your backpack. Knowledge is when you unpack it, test it out, and turn it into your skills or wisdom. Okay. Remember, wisdom is very important. And there's a book that changed my life. It's called Weapons of Mass Destruction. This book right here, 10 out of 10. All right, this is a 10 out of 10 book. This book is one of the things that woke me up and just showed me even more, as when I was a kid, always questioning things, that I was not crazy, right? Because I was always told that I was crazy. I was told I was crazy by my parents. I was told I was crazy by my old friends. I was told I was crazy by teachers. And I ended up being right, due to the fact that this is not how things are supposed to be. It doesn't make sense that you guys are telling us to continue down this conveyor belt, this path of like where everybody's going down the same thing, and we all will make it this way, right? It's impossible for that to even that doesn't even happen in science. That's number one. Number two is they like, think about it. If they was actually honest, for example, just think about it. They said, well, if you guys go to college, there's only going to be 20% of you that's going to succeed, or 70%, 30% of you that's going to succeed, right? Now you have a bigger chance because you got 95% of businesses that fail, so you have a bigger chance of succeeding with college due to the numbers. But I'm going to show you something that what I have chosen to do, that actually, if they taught this in school, it would be a super large scope of success rates in America. And right now, where America crumbling, is due to the fact that the education system was not meant for us to succeed, and the wealth gap is spreading larger and larger due to the fact that just people just don't know. And then you got TikTok and everybody, and all these companies that's just grabbing for your attention, and they just so much distractions and everything like that. And then you got Gen Z. It's just a lot going on where it's just further and further making us lose. John D. Rockefeller said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." I just want you to know that this is a real quote, by the way. Go look this up. This is a real quote. So this tells you right here that you weren't meant to be successful. You weren't. You were born to be a failure. That's what they planned for us way before or even our great grandparents was born, right? So they planned for us to be a failure. So let's go further in. So have you ever thought to yourself, as this is your parents, this is your dad, this is your mom, have you ever thought to yourself, dang, I love them, but I'm becoming them, right? Have you ever thought that to yourself? Even if I'm 34 years old. I look at my parents and I say, I don't want to become like, I'm not saying that they failed or anything like that. I just don't want to become, I want to be able to have it where my parents are able to be able to travel the world, and I work. And when I mean I work on what I own and build for the generations after me. And that's what I'm doing. But if I basically continue to do what my parents taught me, then I'll be basically pushing that on my children, and then it'll be my children's job and duty to make it out, and then maybe the next generation after them will be the ones that be able to reap the benefits. Where I just want to make this very clear that every single parent had a chance. Now, I had a few of them. I could have got on YouTube when it first started. I could have got on Twitch when it first started. I could have got on TikTok when it first started. I could have got onto the crypto boom in 2020. I could have done all those type of things. I missed out on all those type of things like that, which I'm kind of happy that I missed out on the 2020 crypto boom, because if you don't know how to make money, even if you get it, I mean, you will lose it, right? So these are the things that I wish that I've taken opportunities on that I did not take opportunities on. And every parent that landed on this planet that had children, obviously, because they're a parent, had the opportunity where they could have changed their children's lives, and they chose not to do it. All right, so that's that there. Well, I want you to know you are designed for you to be a failure, okay? You were taught that if you worked hard, then you will succeed. Most of the time, your parents did not want to be judged, like I said earlier, so they subject you to their expectations, believing that your experiences will be different from theirs. Okay, a lot of parents think that okay, I failed when I went to college. The college didn't work for me. Maybe it worked for you. Just think about that. Just think about it. If they told you that college has a 70% failure rate, would you go to college? You'll probably just go get a job, because then they could say, well, owning the business is a 95% failure rate. So you're probably in a lose-lose situation if you think about that, right? If you didn't know what I'm about to show you, you'll see yourself as like, well, it's a lose-lose. I'm gonna lose either way. So just think about that right there. So in today's time, when people are still telling their kids to go to school, go to college, pull themselves by the bootstrap, you have people like myself, right? You have people like Kai Cenat, I Show Speed. Kai Cenat dropped out of college. I Show Speed didn't go to college. Asmongold, he went to college, got a business degree, and he's one of the biggest Twitch streamers. He doesn't use his degree, right? So let's be honest. You don't see many college graduates, let's be very honest, being success stories. You don't see many of them. Majority of them aren't success stories. But let's look deep into this right here. Let's go there here. All right, so let me pull up the actual. In 2025, around 70% of college graduates are unable to secure full-time employment in their field, with 30% finding jobs directly related to their studies and 41% feeling unemployed, according to Cengage and Group Graduate Employability Report published by Newsweek and Forbes. This situation is due to a growing skill gap, where employers seek specific jobs related skills now always taught in college, which we will talk about that in a second, and the impact of AI. My eyes are bad, by the way. of AIs automating many entry level tasks, making the job market one of the toughest in years. All right, so I just want you guys to know my eyes are terrible, which is why you see me like squinting at my iPad. So let's talk about this for a second. So you go to college, you pay $100,000, you put yourself in complete debt for you to be taught things that doesn't matter inside of the work field in today's time, and then you're also paying 100 grand plus to be put in debt for the entry level jobs that you'll go to college for to be taken. So what is the point of us going there? All right. So let's go into it. The system is broken. To still think that the dreams were sold is possible, you are mistaken. Okay. So the median age for first home buyers is 20 in 2025 is 38, which will increase every year. What do you think you can do with your life today? What do you think you can do? Like, there's people, which is the most bananas thing that I've seen, that there are people living in their cars with 3 jobs. This is the thing. People are living in their cars with 3 jobs. 3 jobs and living in their cars. Families are living in storage bunkers because they can't feed themselves, they can't feed the kids, and pay the rent and take care of the bills. Now you're gonna say, well, they should have done more, right? That's what you probably would say. They should have done more, right? You're probably somebody who feels like that will probably be a better situation for you. It's because a lot of the things that we were taught just don't work, and we continuously, as the people who aren't following the system, these people are there, which I'm gonna show you what I do. I don't follow the system. We're not following that. While everybody else is following this, go to school, get a job, get multiple jobs, and maybe I'll be able to feed myself. And this is gonna get worse in 2026. So let's continue. So I was lied to, and I fell for the media, the social media, and the hype on social media, and I built businesses around the hype. Okay, so when you see things, and I'm going to show you soon, you will see something really crazy that I found. I found you know following what they say, that you can make $10,000 a month, or you can make all this money and stuff from things that hit the media. I think that once you see it on the media, you kind of lost out, right? You're too late. And I don't think that people should get into things like FBA, drop shipping, AI automation. I don't think people should get into these things. These are terrible businesses to start. You can make money. You can. Now it's not a possibility. It's not. It's not impossible for you to make money, but you can make money. Okay. So just want you to know that. I want to make sure that I do say that for people who have made money within these things, but it's not something that you can scale. All right, but and also if you aren't getting into it when it's early, it's probably too late. It's a big chance it's too late. So the truth is, when a business model becomes a trend, it do not mean you cannot make money in it. It just means that you would need to innovate or niche down. So just think about that. So if you're going to get into a trend, you need to basically innovate that trend, or you want to niche down from it. So one trend that I did jump into, but it was something that I wanted to do since 2016 due to the death of my daughter. I wanted to make a game based off of her, just basically as a love letter to her. So I am a game developer. That's one of the things, but it's not the thing that keeps me inside the house. I'll explain that in a second, but this is one of the things. I'm a game developer that could have had a hit by now, but the market that chose to chase hype and it's just a bunch of crap out there. And they left the game developers like us, who are basically building real products, they left us dry. So as a result, everyone lost their money. So this is another thing when people are chasing hype, investing into a bunch of hype and stuff like that. That's another thing too. You don't want to put your money into it. If something's hype, people talking about it, everyone's talking about it, then it means it's too late for you. But our game will resume in development in January 19th, which is my daughter's birthday, 2026. Okay. So what am I doing now? Which you're probably wondering, like, well, what is he doing now? Okay. So what I'm doing now, after spending millions of dollars in game development and running low on money, I am now buying boring businesses. This is what I'm doing. I am buying boring businesses that cannot fail me. I just want you to know, these businesses cannot fail me. Creating government departments inside of these boring businesses and then selling services to the government. All right. So the government is the ones that screwing us, right? These are the ones that have infinity money. That's not infinity symbol. My infinity symbol was terrible, but I was trying to make one. Here you go. So it's got infinity money basically, and they got to put $750 billion, pardon me, $1 billion, to basically pay government contractors. So this is how I fund development of my game, and without looking for support. So I don't need this community to support me or whatever the case may be. I don't need to go get publishers, whatever the case may be. I'll be able to fund the game by myself. All right. So the question is, why don't they teach that? Why don't teach you that you can start a business and work for the government, which will increase the 95% of businesses fail state. So it will not increase it as in increase it higher. It will just basically increase it on the decrease the amount of how many businesses fail. All right. So when it comes to the government contractor, your success is based off of your work ethic. All right. So how much you work. All right. It is strange that I had to go seek this knowledge. Remember, I told you you had to go seek it myself. Than school educating us. Then the school make their money from the government, which is a business. School is a business. Just let you know that to run their business. All right. But why don't they teach us how to get money from the government? Why they don't teach us about the WIOA program? So when you got all these guys, like people up here, right? Mr. Knowledge and Grant Cardone. This is a crypto guy. All right, these guys made people believe that they're going to centralize, which they didn't believe in decentralized. They centralized the crypto community themselves, but they made people believe that going decentralized and crypto is the future and all that stuff like that. That's a whole nother story. But these guys were here and they sell courses. Well, if they can actually get the WIOA program, instead of you putting in 15,000. Right? If they actually got accredited and everything like that, what they can do is they can have the WIOA program and get paid by the government $15,000 per student that joins their courses. You wouldn't have to go into debt. You won't have to come out of pocket, or whatever the case may be. The government will pay for that. But we don't learn this stuff inside of school. We don't learn how to set this up. Even if you did, somebody will tell you got to start a nonprofit to do all the type of things like that. All right, so let's go into the difference between finding a job, which is old employees life, versus government contracting, which is entrepreneur life. So this is basically what I do. Okay, so when it comes to finding a job, you get a steady paycheck, predictable income. So it's less stress about where my money's coming from. You don't have to stress about that. The benefits is healthcare, retirement, matching, right? What's retirement? You could just basically cut that out. If it's a good employer, clear structure, you do your role. Someone else worries about the overhead, so you don't got to pay for anything. Here's what the cons of having a job, as you guys probably know this, right? Your cap, salary, rises, and promotions come at someone else's decision. No ownership. You're building someone else's dream and rentable. Basically layoffs and stuff like that, which is happening now. People are able to get fired, and you can't control any of those type of things like that. But when it comes to government contracting, here is it. So government contracting is the government is the biggest customer in the world. They have to by law, agencies must contract out billions of dollars a year. Big money potential contracts can be 6 to 7 figures, even for boring jobs like landscaping, cleaning, roofing, HVAC, and trucking. Okay, so I want you guys to know that. Ownership and leverage. If you're not just earning paychecks, you're building an asset that can be sold or scaled, because you can actually sell this business to work for the government. So here's the cons. Take setup. So LLCs, S corps, SAM.gov registration, certifications, compliance, all the type of stuff like that, which is a lot of paperwork inside of that. It takes a lot to deal with that stuff. So the risk is on you. If you don't deliver, you lose the deal. Remember, I told you this is basically the only chance you can fail. If you do nothing, it's the only way you can fail. Feast or famine. If you don't know how to build pipelines, which is why we network with inside of Sparta Society, then you have a difficult time if you don't know how to network and stuff like that. So you basically want to learn how to do those type of things. And that's literally it. That's literally the kinds of it. So the only biggest kind is will it work? 100%. You work for the government. But the thing about it is you have to base it off of you. All right, so job, short-term stability, long-term cap, GovCon, short-term grind, long-term wealth. All right, so if you're cool with a 9 to 5, if your job makes sense to you, if it makes you comfortable, which is possible for today to make you comfortable, but if you're trying to break generational curses, ceilings, build wealth, and own something with the government as your client, contracting is the play. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to put you on game. Okay, just know that. Okay, nihilism, something that is really big nowadays. So one of the scariest things is that I found out that most people, mainly Gen Z, is studying this something called nihilism. It's basically started in 19 something, but this is something that's getting really big now. I have children. All right. I refuse to fail them. That's number one. As is why I started my journey. I refuse to fail them and have them suffer due to the bad decisions that I've made. Right, where I could have taken a chance, I just chose not to. And blame how the world turned out on how they turned out. So I refuse to do that. So the best thing I could do is find a way how to get the self out of the trap. And then for my 18 plus years, I felt like I was going the wrong way. And then I found the government contracts and all that stuff like that and learned how to buy businesses. And now I'm here. So I don't want my kids to feel like there's no meaning to life and everything like that. So, you know, a lot of people feel like there's no meaning in life due to the fact they just don't know anything. Okay. So my viewpoint, here's my viewpoint. America is one of the roughest patches. Jobs are drying up, the housing market is shaky, banks are playing games, and prices keep climbing while paychecks don't. People are looking at the government for answers, but all they see is finger pointing and excuses. Instead of waiting on the same folks who have broke the system to steadily fix it, why not flip the script? Let's stand on the side of everyday people, use the very cracks in the system to make money together, and build the same people they said they will never win. If they're the ones screwing us, we might be the ones. We might as well make sure we win off their mistakes. Okay, so that's that. Next, you don't know what you don't know. All right, but there is a group of people out there right now that's teaching people how to work for the government, how to open their own trade schools, and how to be a part of the fix of the things that's happening in the world. Now, we won't fix, the world, of course, but we'll fix what's happening to the children, and we can fix what's happening to some people in the job market. We can give jobs and stuff like that with the system. There's a program out there that is building the safest investment when it comes to time and your money. If you are Gen Z and you want to own a business, this group is teaching people how to buy businesses with next to no money down, so you don't have to build businesses from the ground. I think that's completely foolish. This is why I started the system, right? Building businesses from the ground up is how you fail. Once you buy the businesses, you're already making profit. That group will help you add the government to the list of customers that a company that you have purchased already have. You will make even more money and build real and true generational wealth while investors on our side make ROI off the success of your work. You can fail doing this, yes, but that time is only to you failing. So you can only fail yourself on this. All right. So we're going to get into this right here. I'm going to starting a business and buying a business kinds, and then we're going to go into why I chose to buy businesses versus being a business consultant. So, starting a business. Pros. Full creative control. You design everything from scratch. Low entry costs if it's service-based. Feels like yours from day one. Here's the cons of that. No customers on day one. You're begging people to notice you. Cash flow negative at the start. You're spending your money. Sometimes you're spending other people's money before you make money. Takes years to build trust, reputation, and systems. High failure rate, and most businesses fail and die in the first 3 years. Okay, next is buying the business. So here's the pros. Cash flow from day one. The business already has customers and contracts. You inherit systems, employees, and business recognition already from the gate. Banks love acquisitions. You can use seller finance, SBA loans, or even companies' cash flow to fund the purchase of the businesses. You can also skip the will work stage and you will go straight into scaling. So when it comes to buying businesses, you should never have to worry about if this works. Like, will this work? The company's already running, especially if you know how to buy the businesses that have been running for a long time. All right, so here's the cons of that. Big upfront price tag, but almost always leveraged with other people's money, so you never have to put your own money into it. Take skills to do diligence, making sure that you're not buying junk. This right here is very key. Not buying junk. All right. And here's when you know you're buying junk. You might inherit some headaches, bad staff, outdated systems. But again, me being a business consultant, a business developer for 17 plus years, you don't have to worry about those type of things here. With that, I don't have to worry about those things. So I started here trying to consult on businesses for the future. What I've noticed is a lot of them are afraid due to these guys, and you'll see in a second. All right, they're afraid due to these guys. So because you always have children, 13-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds, all on social media saying that they make $100,000 a month, all types of stuff like that off of these same systems here. But if you look at these right here, look at this. Let's put this in red. Look at that. Look at that. This is what makes businesses have the fear of being scammed, which will leave businesses stuck. And that's why I chose to just buy them and then do exactly what I said I was going to do for the company, rather just buy the company and do it for myself and me make the money versus me trying to convince them that I'm not one of these guys right here. All right. So let's go here. So starting a business, you're building a car from scratch and hoping it runs. Buying a business, you're getting the keys to a car that already runs. You just need to drive it better. If you're struggling financially, buying makes more sense because you're stepping into an already working system with income instead of gambling on whether the idea will take off. Okay, so that's why I got into buying businesses. Okay, and what we do is in front of your faces. You see it all the time. People are doing government contracts all the time. It's happening in front of your face. Sometimes you walk into buildings, you see people window cleaning, all types of stuff, cleaning the buildings and stuff. It's all government contract. There's a whole movie on it and stuff like that. Sometimes they even make you think that what they're doing, they put it into movies and put it in front of your face. These are good people. David and those guys are good people and stuff. It's very good people. The movie portrayed it wrong. It didn't happen the way it happened in the movie. But it's the exact same thing, right? It's the exact same thing that we do. Do some research on government contracts. You again, like, subscribe, comment on this video. I'm gonna be put more and just basically more in a day. I'm gonna basically follow through with it because I'll be basically working, and figuring out like I can be recording this stuff and putting it on YouTube. So I'm gonna start doing that. But I wanted to really talk about these things right here. I wanted to talk about this stuff. Like, this is stuff that I've noticed through my 34 years of life and being in the position I'm in now, and just seeing like we were lied to. And it's sad, which is the most sad part. The most sad part about this whole situation is the fact that we can't get the time back. Like the amount of lies and time we wasted trying to figure out things and stuff. Like, once you get to that age, you're done, right? Not to like you're done with life, but you don't have that energy into you anymore, and they took that from us. So all you can do now is I just recommend that people start looking into starting a business that has a for sure customer base. Starting to learn things. Again, follow, comment, subscribe. And if you want to learn these things, I will be giving you some information for free. We have a Discord. It's completely free to join. We talk about these things in there as well. And we have a whole system and everything like that. But again, I want you just to know that there is a group of people out there that is escaping that system. And again, when times go hard, the worst thing that happens to us is the government shutdown. So it's like right now, it's more difficult for us due to the fact that it's just basically money just gets slowed up. So it's like this: if you're supposed to get paid the 30th, it gets probably pushed back to the next 30th. That's the most it happens to us. So we don't got to deal with market crashes, all the type of things like that. We're not dealing with none of that stuff like that. Even when those things happen, the government hires more. We don't have to worry about those type of things like that. So it's recession proof. You know what I'm saying? So while the government's still making a lot of money, we make money with the government instead of going blaming the government, going, hey, the government is bad, they should do something and stuff like that. We choose to be on the side with the government and stuff like that. And some people know about it, some people don't. So wanted just to basically introduce that to you guys and basically let you guys know what it is that I've done, and what it is that I'm going to be doing for 2026 to build just crazy amounts of wealth. And hopefully you guys be a part of that journey. So again, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord if you want to know more information, and make sure that you stay on top of what I'm doing, because I'm going to basically now just be posting up the stuff that I just be doing my day to day job, showing you guys what's going on.